This last week, Debbie and I were able to be with some of our family, including all of our grandkids, all 5 of our grandkids. And it was an incredible time for them to connect and us to connect with them. It's kind of funny watching the older ones who got to know each other and played together before COVID, and then the COVID blur, as I call it, and then kind of picking up where they left off. But the younger ones knew of each other, but it was a bit of a challenge for them to kind of figure out, how do we play together? How do we interact together? And it didn't take them long, part of one day, and they were at full force, enjoying playing and doing what cousins do when they get together, exploring and telling stories. And it was just a really great time. We got to spend a whole week together in a very nice cabin, and Debbie and I enjoyed our time thoroughly. One of the things that is an important part of my life is legacy. I remember years ago when our first grandson was born, now to 7+ years ago, and I remember the moment things changed. My dad had already passed away, so there was me and my son and now a grandson. And I remember that sense of legacy that just hit me very strongly. 3 generations in my family were now together. And I was the oldest. I was the one setting the tone when it came to legacy. I was the one who was going to model for them so many things as a grandfather. And it was an incredible time to think and decide what legacy was going to look like. As a grandfather, I remembering as a little kid, I loved my grandfather. And I remember as a little boy, I was probably 6 or 7, saying to myself, when I get to be a grandpa, I want to be a grandpa just like my grandpa was to me. He was proud of me. He encouraged me. He believed in me. He would tell all his friends stories about my hockey prowess and academic achievements and anything else he could think of. I'm sure it was all embellished. But I remember hearing about it and going, my grandpa was so proud of me. Now, when you think about legacy, it's important to realize you may be young or old. I'm not sure where you are in your chronology of life. But legacy is one of those things that's critically important. I was talking to somebody this morning going, the future has a way of sneaking up on you quicker than you think. And the future does come quickly. But legacy, what are things that you want to leave behind? We're going to leave all our physical possessions behind. But what memories, what imprint do you want to make on future generations? What positive imprint do you want to make? Do you want it to be a legacy of faith? Do you want it to be a legacy that involves a strong sense of marriage and family? Do you want it to be a legacy of service to others? Do you want it to be a legacy of education, that your kids have an opportunity to advance as far as they can, to use their God-given gifts and talents academically? Do you want it to be athletically? Whatever it's going, and even financially, whatever it's going to look like, you're going to have to be intentional. Because legacy is an intentional decision that we make, and we make deposits in that legacy account every single day. I want to encourage you to begin to think, if you haven't already, begin to think about your life in terms of legacy. What are you leaving behind? What imprint are you leaving behind on your, if you're not married, your future kids, if you are married and have kids, if you're a grandfather like me, your grandchildren, and other people, what legacy, what memories, what imprint do I want to make that future generations are going to remember me for? First off, I hope it's very positive. But second is, I want to encourage you to be very intentional and do it daily. I believe in you. I believe you can and will leave a positive legacy. All the best.